So here's an article from 1761. Uh, the newspaper was called the New Hampshire, and the article's about mortgages. So I'm going to read the bottom left first, and then I'll read the two from the Digital Jew. Um, so the article says it is of little consequence to the owner what extent a fortune is of if its income is exceeded by annual expense. In my note, that should be common sense, right? The first £1,000 an estate becomes mortgaged for will be to it what a canker is to the body. It will gradually eat its way on till it is grown at um until it is grown irredeemable consumer, right? I guess it's going to consume the entire body. If an effectual cure be not applied to the first stage of the um I don't know what that word is, of to the sickness or whatever, it's which would be the mortgage, its progressive effects become such that the remedies will prove efficient for that, I don't know, very purpose. So, um, yeah, obviously, if we had real money in our in the world, we wouldn't have to, and enough money in the world, we wouldn't have to have all our properties mortgaged. Or I mean, the majority of people. Some people can outright buy their homes, but a lot of people, most people can't. Um, and doing a separate video on money, but I touch upon it here because it comes down to that. And up on the top left, it says, "You're right." And you're describing a foundational but often misunderstood distinction in economics. Currency is not necessarily money, which in reality is not money at all. It's a form of money, often created as debt, and its status depends on government decree. And I wouldn't even say it's really, it does circulate as money, but what it's done is it has replaced money. So we have currency now instead of money. The only quote unquote money we actually still have in circulation, I believe, is the penny, nickel, dime, and quarter, which even that is debased. But the fact of the matter is, from my understanding, the government issues the penny, nickel, dime, and quarter. But everything else comes into existence as a debt with interest attached to private owners. And that's not good. So the foundation of our entire money system is evil and satanic and is doomed to manipulation and failure. So calculated failure. And so on the right, it says, you're correct. In a system where nearly all money is created as debt, um, then to repay principal plus interest, more money needs to continually enter the system, right? Just more debt. And then it says this creates a built-in pressure for economic growth, debt expansion, and inflation, or else defaults rise, right? There was never any such thing as quote unquote inflation. Um, or I should, well, they conflate inflation and price increases. It's two separate things. Although in today's world, inflation of the debt system could increase the uh, prices. In reality, when we just had actual money, as the economy grows and the number of people grow, you always need more money. So back in the day when we had actual money and more money would be issued by the government, it didn't create inflation, or it didn't, I should say, it didn't create price increases. It's just that more people needed more money. And it's kind of like what the Germans did during World War II. They didn't create inflation, and yet they created money themselves. They bypassed central banks and all that, and the private bank creation. So, and then on the bottom there, it says interest is extra extractive over time. And it says, especially in long term loans like mortgages, interest can double or triple the original price of the home over 25 to 30 years. So banks profit disproportionately, while borrowers transfer wealth to lenders. Um, and then it says if income growth doesn't keep pace with debt servicing, household stress increases. And then obviously, as people lose their homes, um, when you have downturns. but it's all created by the banking system increasing or decrease. Well, and usually in downturns, it happens when the banks decrease the amount of loans that they allow the central bank or private banks, because those loans are what are currently circulating as our money. So they're basically restricting money out of circulation. And if all money comes into existence with as a debt with interest attached, but only the principal of that debt is created, not the interest, then when you stop the creation of new debt uh, or call it in or restrict it, you've now made it literally impossible for everybody to be able to pay back their debt. Even if you take into account velocity of circulation and all that stuff, it's never going to happen. It can't happen. And yeah, and this is the root cause of all of our economic problems. So uh, anyway, kind of went off on tangents here, but I'm going to try to do a longer video on this because I think it's one of the most important things. And money in banking was actually the first thing that I ever got into when I started waking up to the truth. It kind of set the foundation for me. Once I realized that that was all evil, I kind of then branched out from there. So anyway,